Hello, Soul Sister. Welcome to another episode of Midlife Love Out Loud. I have Andrea Isaacs in the house, and she is a dear friend of mine. And I'm so happy that you carved out some time to play with me today and to share your wisdom.
It's awesome to be here with you. Thank you.
So, Andrea was actually on the podcast. You were one of my first guests years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I reached out to her and I was like, okay, I'm starting this podcast. I don't really know what I'm doing, but if I make a mistake, you'll love me anyway. Yeah. And Andrea and I we really go way back many, many years. I know I have a lot of dear friends that come on the podcast, but I will say that Andrea and I really are deep, deep connected soul sisters, and we've trained together, and I have been one of her greatest fans because she just rocks. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's the founder of the Emotional Mastery Institute and creator of the EQ quiz, whatever EQ is, EQ quiz. And her students call her a master of change and a spiritual teacher extraordinaire. I would friggin' agree, because you really, the work you do is precious. Clients work with her when they know something's missing and want more meaning and creativity, abundance, and joy in all areas of life. Absolutely. So good to have you here. And one of the things I love about you, aside from the fact that you're real and have such a beautiful heart, I love how deep you've gone with the Enneagram personality system and how you've brought in embodiment as well. You incorporate neuroscience. I mean, like you have just brought it all together to help people really maximize their life. You're like, oh my God, you really are just so spectacular. So isn't it nice to come on my podcast? Love you up. So one of the things that you and I were talking about is lighting up one's life. And so many times when women come to me, when they're wanting to open up their hearts, wanting to get back out there and date, they're kind of feeling like their light is down, that they're not feeling juiced or lit up. And I know that you work with the Enneagram, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about what the Enneagram is and emotional mastery. Like just give us the idea of, lead us into what lighting up one's life means to you and everything else I just asked for.
Okay. Well, we'll be busy for the next 30 minutes. My goodness. Light up your life could mean something different for every person. If you want to light up your life, if you want to live an extraordinary life, whether it means to magnetize your man, magnetize your ideal partner, whether you're a conscious entrepreneur or business coach, or whether you just want to be a really good person and a good friend or a good mother, all of that really means knowing your deepest heart's desire, knowing what you want, knowing what does light up your heart. Is it a really good conversation? I'll tell you, that's one of the things that really lights up my heart. It could be being in the mountains or being at the water or going to movies, or what is it? And I'll tell you, it's something I see so often, that many people live their lives according to who they think others want them to be, doing what others expect of them. And they dampen down the voice of their own longing. Yeah. So earlier we were talking about self-love. Well, part of self-love is knowing what you want. And there is a lot of fear. It may not be seen or felt as fear, but it's the dampening down of our voice and our longing, because maybe at one time in life it wasn't safe to want what you wanted. And if that is true for you, that means you're not going to light up your life. You won't have that extraordinary life. It will be hard to attract your ideal partner. So in some of the work I do, I see someone's emotional mastery blueprint, and I could see how they've dampened down the voice of their longing. And then in my coaching, we unpack that smothering and the voice of their longing. They can hear it. And then they have the courage to actually act on it. And when you act on your life purpose, boy, that lights me up, and it lights others up too.
Oh, love it. I was just interviewing someone, Ken, a couple of weeks ago. I'm trying to remember his last name, but oh well. This awesome guy named Ken, Betchel, that's his name, Ken Betchel, because I really thought he was amazing. And he wrote this book called Follow Your Yes. And when you follow your yes, when you're tapping in to that knowing of what's important to you and what you value, and then you take action, like you said, you have a whole different life. Whole different life. And if that ain't lighting you up, what will, if you're not tapped into that, right?
Well, you just reminded me of what I call the whole body yes. I mean, that's a physical experience. They say that we have these three centers, a head or a thinking center, a feeling center, and a body center. And you could say we also have a spiritual center. When all of them are engaged, that is living your life as a whole person. That does light you up.
Yeah, I love it. And so when you were saying about how people are dimming their light because of all the hoops we jump through, we're both shadow workers, and, we both have been trained in shadow work. And one of the things we have been taught is, we've been shamed. We cut off aspects of ourselves. Would you say that's the biggest reason people lose touch with their inner light?
There are so many. Well, you mentioned the Enneagram earlier. Ennea means 9 in Greek, and it's a personality system that describes a different set of strengths and challenges for each of these 9 types. And sometimes I like to break it down to 18, the gifts and the challenge. If you either don't have the gift or you do have the challenge, any of those, that's 18 possible ways of dampening down your longing, of not knowing what you want or not going for it. Those are all the ways that get in the way of living our life purpose or magnetizing our life so it can be all that it can be.
Wow. So yes, tell us a little bit more about the Enneagram. I mean, you said it's a personality system. I know a decent amount, but a drop in the bucket compared to you. And some people have never heard of the Enneagram. So can you kind of give us an overview of what that actually means?
What I'd like to do is, instead of going around the whole circle and talking about these 18 different points.
Yeah.
I think this makes the most sense right now, is to tell you some of the most common combinations of scores in someone's blueprint that will hold them back.
And I'm just going to jump in there and say, that's how I view it. It's a blueprint. It's like this snapshot of how we're wired. And like you said, are we getting in our own way? Are we able to move forward? And that we have kind of these default kind of patterns. And when they take your quiz, which is so phenomenal, if you haven't taken her quiz, you've got to take her quiz, that you get to see where your strengths are, and you see these patterns that you're talking about. So take it away.
Sure. So I'm going to start with the peacemakers, the type at the top.
Yeah.
The gift is, of course, valuing peace, their own inner peace, and the peace between them and another person, between them and anybody in the world, or between those people over there, even if they're not a part of it. They value it so much. And one of their gifts is the ability to see all points of view, and to help people who disagree to see each other's perspective, so there can be understanding and agreement and harmony.
Yes.
It's one of their highest values. Now, the challenge is something I like to call the gift gone wrong. It's too much of a good thing. And this case, when their gift gone wrong is, like, say if you and I were having, trying to make a plan, you wanted to do X and I wanted to do Y. I'll say, we'll do what you want to do. That's fine. The ability to compromise is really sweet in relationships. It's very sweet to be able to do that, until you do it over and 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 over again. It's so easy to start to feel like, well, you don't care what I want. Nobody cares what I want. You don't even care what I think or what I feel. It's like, I don't matter. It really leads to I don't matter. And then that is the cause of dampening down what I do want. Because what if I tell you and you treat me as if I don't matter? It's not that you would, it's that I never tell you what I want because I hold back because I want to keep the peace. I want to go along. And this pattern isn't something that just started like last year or whatever. It's almost always something that started way back in childhood. Because when we come into the world, we are a tabula rasa, a blank slate. We don't know how to show up in the world yet. And so we're treated a certain way. Maybe mom or dad doesn't have time for us. And we start to believe, well, I guess I don't matter. Okay, that's the way I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to keep myself. And it's repeated the next day and the next. And that neural pathway gets trained and strengthened because it's like doing your reps when you go to a gym and your muscles get bigger and stronger. That neural pathway years later is so ingrained and you don't even realize it. And that is one of the biggest things that gets in the way of relationships, any relationship. Because if you don't say what you think, if you don't say what you feel or what you want, chances are you're not going to get it.
And if that's what's happening, you're not going to be feeling lit up in your life.
Correct. There's another score that I call these challenges whammies. And there's another score that creates what I call a double whammy. So type 2 is called the nurturer. One of their gifts is being of service to others, knowing what others need and being there to provide it. They're so brilliant at it. Others don't even need to know, don't even need to ask for what they want because it's provided. And it's a beautiful gift to have someone be of service to you like that is awesome. If gone wrong is the neural pathway that goes from their hearts outward towards others is very, very, very strong. And the neural pathway that goes in and down for them to understand, to recognize, and to name what it is they want, it's really not there. And so they too, for different reasons, don't know what they want, won't ask for it, and then will start to resent others for not being there. Like, why aren't you there for me? Oh, well,
yeah,
no, I needed you.
Yeah.
That's a double whammy. And then there's this, I call it a domino effect, because when those are in play, underneath all that is this hurt and anger. It could be a simmering anger that you hold in and hold in and hold in and hold in until you can't anymore. Or it could be something you don't hold in and it's just expressed in a not so good way. And then there are repercussions. If you are trying to accomplish something, or if you have a dream or a goal or an intention in life, if you feel like what you want doesn't matter, your achiever score is gonna go way down. And it's what stops people when they have this combination of scores is, well, how can you go for it if you don't believe you deserve it?
Right.
There's no way. It creates such a roadblock. It creates things like procrastination, forgetting, I'm too busy, the computer breaks down, there's a blackout. I mean, things that seem beyond your control they all start to happen when you start moving forward towards your dream.
Yeah. What a cosmic joke.
Yeah.
So think about this woman right now who is wanting to have her life lit up. And here we have this system of the Enneagrams. Is there one Enneagram that supports your life being lit up more than others? Like, how does that work?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. So in my opinion, we want to have the gifts of all of the types. That will really light you up, and none of the challenges of any of them. That's a journey and it can happen. However,
you do you really believe that? Do you? I really want to ask you that. Do you really believe that you can get? I've seen the graph,
yes,
with your red and your green, and sometimes there's one that the green is all the way out in the pie, and there's one so at a level 10, or and vice versa at a level 1. Do you can we really have a full green pie?
Yes. But I want to tell you, I'll say more.
All right, we need to do some more work together. My pie's a little off.
This has been really interesting to me. Well, let's see, which do I want to say first? I'll tell you this part first. When clients or students start working with me and I look at their charts, and I have so many people come to mind right now. Red, by the way, means a challenge, and green is a gift. The reds are really high and out to here, and a lot of the greens are really small. And they have a lot of challenges in almost every area of life. And they feel, oh, I got so much work to do. And I say, you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. Let's find your first domino. Remember before I was talking about dominoes, you all fall down?
Yeah.
We can find your first domino that actually starts to lift them all up.
Oh, that makes sense.
And what's happened after this period of time of working with me is they do the quiz again, and we see the blueprint again, and their greens are out to here and their reds are down here. Now they'll have some reds are a 3 or a 4 in a scale of 1 to 10. So they still have some challenges, but not like before. And they move through them so much more smoothly and so much more quickly.
Yeah.
There's ease and peace and flow and joy, and they live an extraordinary life.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. It's one of the things I was talking to my group. I have a women's group. It's called Midlife Love Mastery. It's a year-long program. And, I'm teaching them lots of different tools. And I was sharing with them how, I'm not at the top of the mountain. I'm still working my stuff. I've come a long way. But the thing that I notice when that default pattern, that domino, that first domino kind of shows up, like, oh, there it is, and break the pattern. So the domino effect doesn't happen because I spotted it. And I think so much has to do with that awareness. Would you agree?
I love what you're saying. I call it the choice point. I would say every moment is a choice. Every moment is a choice. Now, when something triggers us, there could be an immediate reaction. Oh, I'm hurt, I'm angry. And until we have the awareness of our reactions, of our inner experience, we may just have that reaction and things don't go so well and life goes on. Maybe we challenge a relationship. What can happen is, and there's something I call lower will and higher will. And this is what I mean. Lower will means doing your work like you're doing, Junie, and like you do with your clients and students. And what I do for myself and my students and clients is we do work with lower will. And that means it takes a little effort to learn the tools and to practice the tools and to practice, because it's called a practice, because we just need to keep training ourselves and getting those neural pathways stronger. Now, when we do the work with lower will, one of a few things will happen. You get that moment and you're triggered. Either you can anticipate the trigger coming up and do what you need to do before you get in a situation to change your reactivity so you respond differently than you used to. Or in the moment that you get triggered, you notice it, like you were just saying, and you respond differently. You choose, I don't want to be like that. I have this tool, and you have a moment and you respond differently. And then the third option, and this is the magic, higher will kicks in. And when you get triggered, you find that you just respond differently, and these different kinds of words come out of your mouth. And afterwards you say, I can't believe I responded like that. That's not like me. That's not how I used to be. And it becomes a part of you, because we all have a comfort zone. I call this your comfort zone. And when we do the work at lower will, we're actually expanding our comfort zone. And the purpose of practicing is every time you practice, those neural pathways get bigger and stronger, and your comfort zone gets bigger and bigger. And so your reactivity really lessens. And this is part of To Light Up Your Life. What happens is you're able to respond as your best and highest self all the time, no matter what.
Yes. Boom, baby. Yes. Love it. So you talk about emotional mastery. What's your definition of emotional mastery? And tell us how that ties into lighting up one's life.
Right. Well, I think emotional mastery is kind of what I was just describing. It's changing your reactivity. I include, and as I know you do, Junie, is I do go into the dark side of human nature because it's part of human nature. And if we ignore it, what happens is we put it into our shadow, we get triggered, and our shadow leaks, as I know you know, and we respond in a way that doesn't go well. Emotional mastery is not controlling your emotions. That's never what I mean. It's not about, I got to hold it in. I got to control myself. I can't let you know how I feel. No, it's going into it, not in the moment when you're with that person, but doing your work with lower will to find that energy. Because sometimes that energy is empowering if you use it in the right way.
Right. Because it's about harnessing the energy and knowing how to use it for us where it's not harming anybody else or going toward us in a harmful way. But yes, being able to really use it in the highest and best way. Yes.
So we go into the dark shadow and we release it, and then we take that energy and transform it into an antidote. And we have the neural pathway in your body for that new way to use that energy. And then we have your body inform your mind, and we anchor it. We anchor it in the body with the body position. And then we have your body inform your mind. What does that say about who you are now? Oh, I am strong, courageous, and present, or something like that. I don't know. Your body will tell you. I never tell my clients what their mantra should be. I have their bodies tell their minds. I just find them in the process.
Is that the embodiment work that you're talking about?
I think embodiment is the best shortcut, the fastest shortcut to easy, deep, and lasting change, because it's bone deep. you experience it, not just in your body, you actually are creating a neural pathway. And then when you anchor it again in your mind, it's strengthening that neural pathway even more. And then you have a real easy way to alert your mind, oh, I need this neural pathway, and you have a shortcut. I end up co-creating with my client's higher self. We co-create a meditation or a prayer that can be a chant that ends up in a shortcut. With all of that in mind, what's a shortcut that will get you there? And then they come up with it. So next time you get triggered, there's a really either short phrase or even a word that you can say that will ignite the brain, will release a peptide, which is a chemical that lands on a neural pathway, changes the energy in your body, and it changes how you think, how you feel, and how you respond to life. And that is emotional mastery, when you can change an emotional reaction on the spot.
That is emotional mastery. Absolutely. On the spot, shift, beautiful, love it. You have the your emotional mastery toolkit for those that are listening and watching. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, the toolkit is a combination of taking the EQ quiz, where you get to reflect on 18 different areas of emotion. And then you get your emotional mastery blueprint. And that is a pie chart of your result. And it shows your gifts and your challenges and all areas that can actually reveal your zone of genius or your life purpose, your heart's desire. It also reveals the whammies, the challenges that get in the way of living your magnificent life.
And this gift is so freaking awesome. It will be in the show notes. You totally want to take this quiz, and it's just a wealth of information. I've learned so much from you. I just think it's amazing. I also know that you have an event coming up. Now, for those that are listening and watching in real time, close to now that we're doing this, you might be able to grab it. And if not, well, get on to her mailing list and you can do it another time. But for those that might be able to pop in, what is that's coming up?
Well, let me tell you 2 more things in the toolkit.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
also a 4-minute video clip on what is emotional mastery. And then you also get the it's called the Whammies webinar, where I go around the whole circle, the whole
Oh my God, this is huge.
I know the value of that is probably $500 or more than that. And this is all free. It's all free.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And
what
the
a
Whammies
gift.
webinar talks about those different combinations of challenges. And right now I'm working on the combination of gifts that really point to a life purpose. And that's going to be really, really beautiful.
Oh,
So
that's so wonderful. Thank you. That's amazing. What a very generous gift. Thank you, hon.
Oh, you're so welcome. I just love for people to know what they can learn by looking at their blueprint, which is why you will also get a link to my calendar. And we can have a conversation where I can tell you what your scores mean. And the event is actually a program coming up, and I've changed the name of it. I'm calling it the Light Up Your Life program. And it's a 5-month program where you learn the language of your body. Because people go, what do you mean, well, my body, the language of emotions in my body? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, it's something that you can learn. And so there's 2 modules. No, there's 1 module on that. And then we go around the circle and you learn about how to have more of the gifts and less of the challenges of each type. It is experiential. You are actually step in the shoes of the peacemaker, the challenger, the loyalist. I could go around the whole circle.
Yeah.
You step into the shoes. And so you actually experience it. And that's why it's bone deep learning. Yeah. And what else is in there? There's always group coaching in that. And there's the option for private coaching as well.
Beautiful. So we'll definitely have that information in the show notes as well. That sounds amazing. Sounds so transformational, so beautiful.
It really is. And then you could take your quiz at the beginning and at the end and see what happens in your pie chart.
That's fun.
And in your
that's
life.
So fun. Yeah, that's so fun. And so, kind of pulling it all together, Soul Sister, these are tools for you to be lit up and come from your authentic fullness. That's what we want for you. We want you to be accessing all of who you are and be able to shine your light and light up your life, whether you have a partner or not. So I'm going to encourage you to definitely grab her free gift. It's, my God, I still can't believe how much is in there. And check out her program as well. That's so awesome. So thank you, Andrea. Thank you for carving out some time today. I just friggin' love you and appreciate you as a human being and your work, which I find so brilliant.
Oh, well, you're so welcome. And that is all so mutual, Junie. Thank you so much for having me here.
Aw. All right, soul sister, that is our episode for today. Share this with a soul sister in your life. There's got to be at least one that's dimming their light, that's thinking that something is not working for them. And we want everyone to have emotional mastery. So think about one person, share it, like, subscribe. And until we meet again, mwah.